What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, yet another post-match fan show with 3 points. With Barry in the studio, we have beaten Brighton 1-0 at the Amex in a very hard-fought victory. Change it up to 3-5-2 today, as many fans were calling for. And I felt like in the first 20-25 minutes, we really saw what that 3-5-2 can bring. Really strong midfield with Bentancur, Bissouma and Højbjerg, especially Bentancur and Højbjerg. I thought they were sensational today. But then kind of Brighton got on top of us, didn't they? I mean, De Zerbi said after 15 minutes, Brighton had all the game, but I felt like we were still threatening when Brighton were on top, especially when we went back to 3-4-3 in the last stages of the game. We really caught them a few times. I mean, Harry Kane had a chance where he should have scored. Doherty had a couple of chances in the first half as well. But I think that when you assess the game, it was a deserved win, I thought.
Yeah, 100%. I think, look, it was, we showed some flexibility. We had 3-5-2. I was just saying a minute ago, why choose between 3-5-2 and 3-4-3? Just play both. Like, let's be greedy and let's show some flexibility. But look, I think, yeah, Brighton had their chances. They never really threatened. Hugo obviously made 2 or 3 good saves that you'd expect him to make. But yeah, I don't necessarily think. I don't necessarily think De Zerbi was, that it was all Brighton from then. It wasn't exactly a massive landslide. They weren't creating clear-cut chances.
They were on top of us, but it's not like they were creating chances at will and cutting us open every time. We put in a really good defensive shift today.
Yeah, we did, and that came from both wing backs. And that was the difference, really. I think they both played really well. Obviously, we've just watched Conte's post-match press conference or post-match interview, sorry, and he looks down. He looked distraught. Obviously, at the start, we saw him in tears after the minute applause. I think he just wants to get everything done and get out of there. And we did what we needed to do to get the result for Ventroni. And like we said, we're third in the league, point behind Arsenal, 3 points off City, and yeah, hopefully we can carry on the march.
Yeah, I hope they don't keep Conte too long there in the press conference, because he doesn't look right at the moment, Conte, and you know why. I mean, it's an absolute travesty, really, what happened last week with Gianpiero Ventroni passing away so tragically. And I think the team really turned up for him today, and he'll be looking down and smiling at that performance and that win today. And you saw when Harry Kane scored that goal, as soon as he scored it, he looked up like that and went like that. And that was a clear nod to Ventroni. So rest in peace, Gianpiero Ventroni. You are definitely sorely missed. But let's get into the callers, and let's start off with the first caller. And he promised me he won't be too crazy today. No, I'm joking. It's Brian Daigle. Daigle, how you doing, my man?
I'm doing good. How about yourselves?
Yeah, good. Obviously, a good 3 points today. Hard-fought victory against a very good side in Brighton. Yep. What did you make out of the game today?
So first of all, like you were just saying about Antonio Conte, you could see from the very, very start he's heartbroken. The emotion that was on him, and fair play for steering us through that victory. And like you said, let's just hope the press and the media have some kind of empathy with him and don't keep him there too long, because you can see he's obviously his mind is elsewhere, and you know it's going to be. Yeah. In regards to the game, do you know what? The 3-5-2, we're all calling for it. And up until we scored the goal, I was loving what we were doing. What we were doing. And then, like you said, after the goal went in, we kind of went back to like with Mourinho and just like defence. But it was a rugged, disciplined and a good performance. And like Nick just said, I think Doherty and Sessegnon deserve a lot of credit. They come in for a lot of abuse. But Doherty, I think, played very well today. Very well.
Absolutely. And there was a few moments in the early stage of the first half where he really should have done better with squaring it to Sessegnon and even getting on the end of one himself. But has he done enough now to be there for the next couple of games?
Well, I think he's going to be. I mean, if you look at it, the one thing he did do is he put in a couple of fantastic blocks at really pivotal moments, which really, really helped the team. And let's face it, as much as we all want to see Spence, I just don't see it happening until the Carabao Cup at home to Forest, and then maybe after the World Cup. So Has Doherty done enough with that performance to warrant playing in the... Oh, no, Champions League, we don't know because Emerson is available to play. But I think against Everton, Doherty's done enough, to start. And like we said, with the 3-5-2, the midfield put in a very disciplined performance. And we did cut them off. And I think we could see the difference there. I'm very happy with the performance. It wasn't the greatest football, but 3 points, job done. And I don't know if you heard it in your commentary, but they said it here that I think that's the first time Brighton have lost at home in 7 months in the league.
It's the first time they've lost at home since we beat them at home.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, back end of in kind of mid last season, yeah.
Yeah, I think I'd just come back from my trip with Bob when he came back, so also all that game. So listen, it's 1-0, it's a clean sheet. There's lots of positives to take from it.
Absolutely. What did you make out of, I mean, you've said the midfield did a very good disciplined performance. Me personally, I thought Højbjerg was my man the match today. What did you make out of the midfield, including Bissouma?
So Bissouma, obviously, he picked up that yellow card. It was a bad tackle, but obviously he got it. But unlike West Ham, he remained focused. He remained focused this game. Maybe it was being back at his old ground or whatever, but he was disciplined. Listen, you know my feelings on Højbjerg. I love that man. He put in a very good performance. The one I do want to talk about, and I was mentioning it on the pump up again, were Kane. Yeah, listen. First of all, that header was a carbon copy. Do you remember the header he scored in the semi-final at Wembley against Chelsea? That stupid header.
Yes.
It was very, very, very similar to that. It's a great header and a great. But his final ball seemed lacking. And let's just hope that injury where he went off, because obviously he picked up a little knock against Frankfurt. And then he's gone off with this one. Let's just hope it's a measure of precaution, because the last thing we need is him off. But back on the midfield, you know what? For me, Bentancur's been one of the best players we've had this season. Yeah. He's been outstanding. And like I said, the three of them together put in a shift, and let's just hope that can continue for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and look, I think Brian Kane said after the game, he said, you know, we bounced back after the North London derby defeat, and we did that even though it wasn't the best performance. We just have to take it game by game. We have the Champions League match on Wednesday. On his goal, he said, when you're in good form, sometimes those just hit you and go in. And on his injury, he said, the ankle is okay, no twist or anything, so I'm pretty sure it's fine. So fingers crossed that it is.
Yeah, let's just hope so. Obviously, sometimes these flare up the day after, but if he's saying that, that's a very positive thing to be hearing. And like I said, the thing is, we would all at the beginning of this game would have taken a terrible display, 1-0, and just get out dodged with the 3 points. It wasn't a terrible display. We did get the 3 points. We did get a clean sheet, and that's something to build on. We've got a lot of games coming, and at least that mini not winning streak against the filth, and obviously the performance of Frankfurt, we put that to bed now. We have 3 points. It's something to build on.
Yeah, absolutely. But does it make it even more impressive? Because me and you were talking before this game, and we were talking about the impact that the thing would happen. Everything happened during the week with Ventroni, and how it's affected the squad and how it's affected Conte. Does it make it even more impressive to go to Brighton, having them not lost for so long at the Amex, to go there and win?
I think it does, Ben. I think it does. Like you said, with the emotions running so high with this, it's going to go one way or the other. They could have crumbled, or they could have manned up and put in like we said, a disciplined performance, and that's exactly what they did to the very final minute. I mean, right near the end, before injury time, what I didn't like to see was, even though we were keeping our shape very, very well, they were getting through the midfield very, very quickly and into the penalty area. But thankfully, Welbeck didn't have his shooting boots on, and they just couldn't make anything stick and make Hugo do any real hard work. But I think the boys have to take a lot of credit for going there when they know the pressure's been on them for the style of play and everything else, and they rose to the occasion. And like we said, that is 3 points. Let's hope Liverpool can do us a favour. And like we said, there's a lot of positives to take from this. After a couple of games with negatives, there is nothing but positives to take from here.
Man the match, Daigle?
So do you know what? I don't know what I kept seeing in some kind of apparently Sky at one point I heard was saying that Sessegnon.
Yeah, Sky gave it to Sess.
They gave it to Sess.
And like I said, Seth and Doherty, who come in for a lot of stick, played very, very well. I'm kind of with you, Ben, and I'm going to edge it with Højbjerg because he's just everywhere. He's just everywhere. He even pulled up and he looked like he got a bit of an injury. And you know, when he's holding parts of his body, there's genuine concern because that man does not fake anything when it comes to injuries. But he soldiered on as he normally does. So just based on that, I would probably just edge it with Højbjerg. That might be a bit of bias because I love him dearly. But I think Sessegnon and Doherty deserve, like I said before, if people, and I'm one of them, so I stand up for this as well. If people are man enough to or woman enough to criticise people, they've got to be able to say, do you know what? I may criticise, but I could also give praise. And both Sessegnon and Doherty do deserve a lot of praise today.
Absolutely spot on. Just before you go, I just want to touch on Richarlison's performance when he came on. I was really disappointed with that performance. I mean, he kept losing the ball in the edge of our penalty box. I mean, it happened twice. Did you see anything positive in there from Richarlison, or what did you make out of his display?
Not really. He's got such a heavy touch. It's like he's got bouncy castles in his football boots because they just can't bloody stick. It's been a bit of a problem, hasn't it? You can see it at Everton, but there's times where his first touch is just so heavy that it puts him into trouble, and it's happened again. So hopefully he can work on that. Hopefully he can work on that. But listen, like we said, he comes on and it's better than when we've had Janssen, or it's better than when we've had Soldat. You know what I mean? There is a player in there. He's just got to work on certain attributes, and his first touch is most definitely one of them.
And actually, I've got one more thing to tell you before he goes. I got a message from the Irish Hotspur for you, and he says, tell Daigle he has to do Kane in. I'm not sure what that means.
So I don't know if you were watching the pump up when we were talking about the 3-5-2 and what changes. I said I wouldn't mind seeing Kane on the bench, and the reason I said that is because Richarlison and Son have been rotated. Kane hasn't been rotated, dropped, rested, whatever word you want to use. And after picking that knock up against Frankfurt, I was like, the last thing, it was a bit with my England hat on. I just don't want him picking up an injury. It wasn't because I don't want him to play and he's not scoring. And David, obviously being Kane's #1 fan, went absolutely a little bit crazy. And then as I was leaving, he said, Brian, if Kane scores or does well, you've got to say, and as always, Kane in. And I said, well, I'll tell you what, if Kane doesn't have a good game or goes off injured, you've got to say Kane rested, and he wouldn't rise to that. So I will be a man of my word, because I will say, do you know what? He scored the goal. I don't think his performance was brilliant, but he got the goal that got the 3 points. So I will be a man of my word, and I will say it, and I will do it right now. If we're finished, I will say, and as always, Kane in.
Big up, Daigle. Thanks for coming on today, mate. I love that, man.
That's brilliant. 2 super chats here. We've had Christian Soto. He's here, he's there, he's every effing where. Højbjerg.
And he really was today. He really was.
And then the next one is from Victor Mattison. Best Cess performance since his debut, in my opinion. Come on, you Spurs.
You know, it's a big shout. And I think he might have some validity there. I mean, he did have a strong performance, was it, against Fulham earlier this season? But he was sensational today. And I mean, what I was really impressed with Sessegnon was his defending today, because I thought defensively, look, there was a couple of mishaps there in the first half, but I think all in all, he was imperious defensively, wasn't he?
Absolutely. And I think, look, it's the best game. I mean, I can't think of, like what Victor just said, I can't think of a game where Cess has had that much kind of influence. He's had that much strength. He's had that much drive and determination. And his all-round game was just, you couldn't really say anything that he did badly today, which is you know, it just goes to show he's come out of the blocks and done what we've all been asking for weeks, I guess, or months. Yeah,
the one thing I'd like to see him contribute on the other end of the pitch a bit more. But look, I'm not going to take anything away from his performance, because I thought he was brilliant. But let's move on. Let's get our next guest on, and he goes by the name of Ross. How you doing, Ross?
Hey, pretty good, fellas. How about y'all?
Yeah, you know, all smiles, 3 points on the board against a very tough Brighton side. What did you make out of the display today?
Great, very gutty display. I mean, I just want to say, you know, it's tremendous shout out to the players, to the coaching staff, for this tough week that they've had to go through. It's never an easy thing when someone passes, and, so suddenly like that. And but everybody went out there, did their jobs, and really seemed like they played for him. And I just was really impressed by that because it can, as Brian said, it can go either way with that. Yeah. But no, great. Like you said, job done, 3 points. Brighton's tough. I mean, they've always been tough. They've always played us tough. Every time we go to the Amex, it's a slog. And you figure with Potter being gone, maybe there'll be a drop off. No, they've kept going. So it's a great win, a gutty win, and you have to get those. If you want to compete for cups, you want to compete for league titles, you got to win these kind of games.
Yeah, absolutely. Talk to me a bit about the wing backs today. We went for a different, partnering with Sesson on the left and Doherty on the right. Assess their performances for me.
It was great. I liked it. Conte's system is all about wingbacks, and it's the X factor. So go the wingbacks, so goes Scott. And anytime we have a good, good performance out of our wingbacks, we tend to play well. We tend to get a win. And, Doherty looked great. He's making himself dangerous, blasting up ahead into that final third, making himself an option. Royal, has his struggles. He's a better defender, but we need somebody that's got that end product there, and he brings that. And Sess really played well, and as I always say, I'm so proud of that kid. So proud of him. I mean, Ross, he could have got down on himself, or late last year when he wasn't playing, but he sucked it up. He focused, and he's been putting in some good performances.
Ross, do you think, talking about still on the wing-backs, do you think it was the best performance by both wing-backs all season in terms of Sess and Doherty's performance, considering we've had Perisic, we've had Royale, from what we've played all season, was that the best game in Conte's system with these two wing-backs in today's game?
Yeah, I think it was definitely up there, one of the better ones for sure. But they both, got up there, made themselves dangerous, made themselves an option. Still a little more work in getting the ball into the box possibly, but no, they did great. I think it was really good. And as I said, that's the key. If they play well, we tend to play well.
Talk to me about the change of system today. Obviously, we went 3-5-2, changed it a bit later on in the game, towards the end of the game. We came out of the blocks really fast and looked really good. But did you think it was working for us for the majority of the game today?
Yes, I did. I was really happy to see the 3-5-2. I mean, that's his system. Conte did 3-5-2 and Inter, did really well. I mean, Lukaku and Martinez were banging him in that 3-5-2. Yeah. And we looked good. That extra guy in the midfield, I think that's very important. We've been missing that. Having that extra guy to pick up those balls that come into the midfield. We hadn't really had that. And we started out fast with it. And we kind of went on the back foot after the goal, as the habit we tend to have for a while now. But it was good.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think that is? Why do we get on the back foot after a goal? Why can't we just keep going? And because we were playing brilliantly in those first 20 minutes.
Absolutely. I wish I really had a good answer for that because I would say, but I don't know. It just seems to be something even, years back, we seem to do that sometimes. And we had gotten away from that, it seemed, a lot under Conte, but it's kind of creeped back in a little bit. And, like I said, I can't really put my finger on why we do that, but it's just not good because, you can't just absorb. You got to get up there, win that ball, and get out on the counter, which is what our strength is.
Yeah.
So, I wish I kind of really could put a finger on it, but I hope to see less of it.
Yeah, tell me about it. And, in that 3-5-2 system, like you said, with the three in midfield, with Basuma being that kind of holding midfield player, and it really gave the license to Højbjerg and Bentancur to really strut their stuff going forward. I thought both of them were absolutely brilliant today. What was your thoughts?
Oh, yeah, I agree. That's it. That's another thing, too. The midfield guys, they can be more aggressive. They can come up. They don't have to sit back and be worried that they're leaving the defenders kind of, back there in the lurch. They can come up, help the attack, move that ball on to Son and Kane so they can get out and get chances. So, yeah, they did. They played very well. It's good to see. We've had so much problems with the midfield, been so thin there. It's nice to have options there. And building on that, options to go from a 3-5-2 to back to the 3-4-3. The versatility, that matters a lot. If you look at all the good teams, the successful teams, your Liverpools, your Chelseas, your Cities, they're deep. they can do that. They can respond to situations and adversity by changing the lineup like that.
Is this the formation you'd like to see moving forward now?
Yes. Yes, I definitely would like to see that. Basuma, I think, will kind of bed in a little bit better.
Oh.
Oh.
Is he frozen or is it us? Is it him?
Yeah.
All right.
Oh.
Ross, I think you've gone there. Well, you're back there now.
Slowly.
I can see you now.
Okay.
I can see you now.
We can hear you.
Good.
Just before you go, just give us your man of the match today.
Horbier,
Yeah.
our Viking. You know, it's got to be the Viking. You know, he did so well today. I mean, he was everywhere, flying around. I mean, the commentators were even talking about how well he did. And I love what he gave the little pump up to the crowd there at the end. You know, right before the whistle. So yeah, Horbier always. You know, Team Viking.
Big up, Ross. Big up, Ross. Thanks for coming on today, and we'll see you next time.
All right, come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.
Big up to Ross once again. We have no, we don't. But we've got.
We have, but we don't.
No, we don't. We have a new guest. Not a new guest. We've got Ariane coming on. What do you mean new guest? We've got Ariane coming on. Ariane, big up yourself. How you doing, mate?
Doing great, honestly. I've been looking forward to that game kind of all week, and I expected a performance like that, and I'm not disappointed. I'm seeing a lot of people who are pretty disappointed with what happened, but honestly, I'm pretty happy. I think you can't expect much more from Brighton away because they have been nothing short of brilliant for their standards, and Brighton have been improving as a club for the past couple of years, and going away to the Amex is not an easy place to go. So to expect us to go there and win 3-0 or 3-1 or whatever, and be disappointed that we don't, I think is disrespectful. So I'm quite happy with that performance, actually, all things considered.
Yeah, and with everything that happened during the week, with obviously Ventrone tragically passing away, does it make it even more impressive to go there and win like we did today?
Absolutely. I mean, look, it cannot be easy to lose someone who was clearly so influential in the club. If you're working with someone every single day, these players, they see these coaches like more than their family sometimes because they're there day in, day out. And if you lose someone like that, it's never easy to recover. So I'm sure it was even more difficult on the players, and they did him proud because that is exactly the kind of performance Conte likes, and Ventrone and Conte are practically inseparable. So I'm sure Ventrone has a similar philosophy. And I'm sure he would have been proud of what he saw out there tonight.
Yeah, but look, without further ado, you know what question I'm going to ask next. Ben Davies back in the team today. What did you make out of his performance?
Yep. I thought it was actually pretty. He had like a few weird passes here and there, but by and large, I do think he had a classic Ben Davies performance. He had good moments, some good passes. There was one he gave to Sessegnon, who I think ended up being offside. Ben Davies doing a shift. Like he's never gonna go out there and I'm gonna be like, oh, Davies was absolutely scintillating, because that's not him.
Ariane, I've heard you say it a few times. I've heard you say that a few times.
Hey. But that's not what you're supposed. That's not what you expect out of Davies, though, right? Of course, I'm gonna stretch any half decent performance. I'm gonna stretch into I'm gonna call him the Roberto Carlos region or Maldini region, whatever I can call him. But by and large, everyone knows what to expect out of Davies, and the good thing is he delivers on the expectations most of the time, and that's why he's such a useful asset to the squad. So I think he did his job brilliantly. And Longley, I think he deserved a rest. I don't think he's been bad. I think he's just been, we have these two center backs of very similar quality and a similar skill set. And Davies was out for 2 weeks, so Longley has been having to play every single game 3 days at a time. So I think you have a big squad. It makes sense for Conte to rotate, and I think that shows why we need a big squad, so we can have these rotations where we don't risk injury and we still maintain the same quality.
And obviously, a lot of fans were calling to go 3-5-2 for today, and Conte finally did. Fans have been calling it for weeks, to be honest, but he finally did it today, Antonio. Yeah. How do you think it worked for us? Because I think first 20 minutes was obviously unbelievable, but for the entirety, how do you think it worked for us?
I think it was honestly as good, because here's the thing: you can say, oh, you kind of go on the back foot when we concede, but I think we're at a level defensively where that's not necessarily as bad as people make it out to be. Because back in kind of in Pochettino's last season, we were horrible defensively, so it made no sense to kind of switch off that way on the offensive and sit back. But under Conte, we are so resilient. I don't see any reason that we can't just, we can hold a 1-0 lead at one of the most difficult away days. That way we don't risk any kind of injury, because against Brighton you have to play very high intensity. It's not something where you can just cruise your way to a bunch of goals. We're not Man City. We can't just pass around them and pretend they're not there. So at the end of the day, I think perfect. It was in the first 20 minutes when we needed the goal. We're playing him off the park. We get that goal, and from the whole time when we were defending, they had a bunch of half chances and pod shots, but I'm seeing these XG things on Twitter where apparently they had maybe 0.94 and we had 0.5, and I have no idea how they're getting these numbers, because none of their chances really scared me, bar the one that Doherty saved. Outside of that, we really didn't. I didn't feel in danger at all, really, at any stage of the game.
Yeah, I mean, they were peppering us. They were peppering us. But didn't really.
We go for it.
Yeah, I agree. And they were peppering us, didn't really create too many chances. We had the chances on the other end. I mean, Doherty could have done a bit better on a few certain situations in the first half. Kane had that chance where he really should have gobbled up, where he screwed it wide. I mean, there were chances for us today, weren't there? But I want to talk to you about the wing-backs today, because nobody expected really Matt Doherty to come in today. Sessegnon put in a really good shift on the left-hand side. What does this mean going forward in the Premier League now? Does Sessegnon have the shirt? Does Doherty have the shirt? What's going on?
I think Sessegnon has actually been a better wingback than Perisic overall this season, because Perisic has had very good games going forward, but defensively he has been a bit questionable sometimes. Not saying he's poor defensively, but I think in certain games like this where we need to make sure we're solid, and which is the majority of most games, because not every single game is a game against Chelsea or a game against Man City where you expect a lot of space in behind. In those games, I would rather have Sessegnon, because I feel more comfortable with him at the back. And Doherty, I think first game in a long time, you could see it was rusty, but you could see that was surprisingly, I thought the kind of injury that Doherty has is one that can be a bit of a career ender at his age. And I was like, maybe that's why we're not looking at him, because he might just be completely dead. But he looked a little rusty, but he had that Doherty of last season in him. You could see it. His running, his intelligence was still there, and it just. I think also that goal he saved us from was he was definitely, I think, our best defender today, just because of that, because it was very reminiscent of what happened last time against Brighton where we lost 1-0. Dyer and Romero both got sold, and there was no one there to save them. But this time, Doherty was there, and he saved them, right? So I think just because of that, I would say he was our best defender tonight, because he was the only one that saved us from a goal. And yeah, on the defensive side, he was excellent, and you could see going forward, he was rusty, but he still had it in him. So honestly, the North London derby, we might have lost it, but that Emerson red might be reminiscent of something like El Sakiko, man. Because if Doherty can get his shirt back and play at the level he was last season, right?
Yeah.
If he can do that again, those 3 points are going to be a great return on investment, man. Honestly.
Absolutely. You said Doherty's the best defender today, but who was the best man on the pitch today? Who was your man of the match?
Højbjerg, 100%. That man was everywhere.
Ben's loving it. Everyone's down with
the guy was on the left wing. We were attacking. The guy was on the left wing, occupying Son's position when he wasn't there. He was kind of behind Kane when there was a pass needed, and then on the counterattack, somehow he's there and he stops the counterattack. I don't know how he's there, but he's every fucking where. So yeah, has to be Højbjerg. This game is not the same if we don't have Højbjerg. Brilliant
Completely
performance from
agree.
today.
Completely agree. Ariane, always great to chat to you, my friend. I'm surprised you didn't give Ben Davis the man of the match, to be fair, but...
It's got a great top on as well. So, got matching tops.
I swear,
I was wearing my national team jersey, which is red.
We saw you in the back end a few minutes ago with a red top on, so I like that you changed it for the stream.
Right, yeah, I was about to explain.
We're matching. Me and Arian
so,
are
yeah,
matching.
so I had my national team's... Yeah, exactly. I saw. That's why I changed this. I had my national team's jersey on, which is red, or that's the away jersey, and I was like, "Hang on, that's not appropriate." So I had to change.
It's not the first time people are changing to wear.
You're an influencer, Barry. You're an influencer. Big up,
Great
Ariane.
chatting to you guys. It's been a while since I actually chatted to you, Ben. Yeah. And as always, come on, you Spurs!
Come on,
you Spurs.
Big up, Ariane. Big up. Let's keep going and let's go to Hassan. Hassan, how are we doing today? All smiles, 3 points. What did you make out of the performance today?
Yeah, I think it was a hard performance, a well-worked performance, and a deserved one in the end, I think. It wasn't the prettiest of performances, but look, sometimes you gotta put in the hard yards to get the 3 points, and I think we did that really well. People are going to talk a lot about the formation, and I thought when we started with the 3-5-2 for the first 20 to 25 minutes, I thought it was pretty good, pretty strong. We were pressing quite high up the pitch. I've never seen Højbjerg and Bentancur get that high up, and we were winning the ball quite a few times in their box, or in their final third. I think it trailed off a little bit towards the end of that first half, and then we switched to 3-4-3, and then it kind of unraveled in terms of possession. But look, I can't complain. 3 points. Brighton haven't lost at home for 7 months, and that's ended today. So yeah, third in the league. Can't complain.
And that's exactly what that 3-5-2 brings us, doesn't it? Because it lets a midfielder sit, and then Bentancur and Højbjerg can be really aggressive, go at their throats. I thought Højbjerg especially was brilliant with his dinks over the top, putting out fires all over the pitch. Bentancur was super aggressive as well. Is this the formation you'd like to see going forward now?
I think it depends on what team we're playing. I think against Frankfurt on Wednesday, whenever we play next, I expect him to go back to a 3-4-3, simply because Frankfurt they aren't like a Brighton or an Arsenal or Man City. They aren't possession based. They like to hit teams on the counter like we do. So I think if a team sits deep while you have possession, having that extra attacker will be useful. But for teams like Brighton, I think when we were playing Arsenal, 3-5-2 would have been a really great thing to have, because we just constrict them, right? We don't let them play out from the back, let them pass around us. And, if a few things had gone differently, it could have been more than just one goal. So, I think there's still ways to improve. I don't think, anyone, I think maybe barring Højbjerg, has been super consistent with their performances. I still think whilst Kane scored today, I think he's still not, up to his top, standards. Same with Son. So I think once those two even get to their best, I think it'll even add more to what we're trying to do. So it was a good step in the right direction. Having the wing backs as well change was also good. So yeah, I think it depends on the situation, but 3-5-2 definitely allows us to control a bit more.
And in terms of the wing backs, a lot of praise coming in for Sessegnon and Doherty. What was your opinion on the wing back situation today?
I thought Sessegnon was all right. A few overhit crosses or not picking out the player. He was all right defensively. A few times, I think it was solely Marsh on his end got the better of him, but it was all right. I think Perisic would have probably suffered a bit more defensively had he been on that side, so having Sessegnon probably helped. And with Doherty, I think going forward, it wasn't his best night, but I think, like everyone is reiterating, I think defensively he was really good, and we've seen him being quite fruitful going forward. So I think that attacking side, he like in the first few minutes, he made some really good runs in behind. So that attacking side isn't something that's strange to him. Like for Emerson, like Emerson's not going to be making those runs in behind. So if he can get a few more games under his belt, get the attacking side flowing, I think that right wing back, while it's not amazing, it's definitely an improvement, and we won't be tearing our eyes out watching Emerson play. Hopefully, in the Premier League much more if he can take his chance. So yeah, I think all in all, 3 points, hard-earned performance, third in the Premier League, a much deserved win for certain circumstances, and I think a big win for Antonio himself. I saw him.
Yeah.
There's a picture circulating
100%.
around Twitter before the start where him and Stellini, I think, were in tears, and then after he won, he was saying a lot of stuff, pumping his fist. So an emotional victory for him, and I think one that the entire team needed. And we got two home games, so that's come up quite nicely, for that support going into those next two fixtures. So yeah, it's a good spot that we're in right now, and we got to kick on for Frankfurt in a few days.
Absolutely. Just before you go, man, the match today?
Now the match, Højbjerg. I think in a bit more of a less demanding role defensively. I think he's shone a bit more. He plays in the midfield three for Denmark, so it's not a position that's new to him. And he was everywhere, and he was defending and interception. But I think not being so restricted in terms of his forward passing, I think him and Bentancur really lived in that. So yeah, it has to be for me. And he's, I think, been one of our most consistent performers this season. So I'm really happy for him, because a lot of people, look past him sometimes for the work he does. But I think he's really shone this season.
Agreed. Big up, Hassan. Thanks for coming on today, my friend, and
No
we'll see
worries.
you next time.
Big up, Hassan.
Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs. Just
Take
this.
that 4-0, Barry, in the man of the matches.
I'm not. It's not a competition, right? Okay, we're not doing a competition. There's not going to be any fallout after this game. Yeah? But if the next person comes on and says Højbjerg, it doesn't say Sess, I'm going to be a bit upset. Only kidding. Look, today, just from Conte, more from Conte after the game. Many times we try to find motivational aspects to push the players and create situations to increase tension. Today, honestly, I did nothing. I left them to face the situation. They showed me they are good people, top men. I am proud to be the coach of this team.
That's interesting. That's really interesting, because like you saw on the sidelines that Conte was absolutely a broken man. You saw that, and it's interesting to say that he wasn't screaming and doing his usual antics on the sidelines, and the players did him proud today.
Yeah, 100%. Talking about people doing something proud, he's live!
And it's live. What's going on, KPV?
Not a lot, mate. Just been chilling and listening to music and just watched the game. And
Let me guess, who let the dogs out?
Oh, you did.
Hang on, Carl. You were listening to music and watching the game. You weren't listening to us.
I was. Yeah, I was actually. So.
Are you sure? You're not just saying that, Carl.
Wait, who's the boss here? Brilliant. So, yeah, this is probably the best performance we've had since that Leicester game. Like, first half, we're normally shit, but this is the best performance we've had since the Leicester game. But finally, Conte played 3-5-2. We've all been calling for it, and he finally did it. So, please play that on Wednesday and then against Everton, Sporting and Man United. So, yeah, brilliant performance. I'll take a 1-0 win. I wanted 2-0, but 1-0. I did say Kane was going to score, Ben. I did say that Friday, mate. Kane.
Yeah, you did.
And I believe that's 9 goals in 11 appearances against Brighton.
Wow.
So, he's not just a North London derby killer, he's the South Coast killer, because that's what he's South Coast killer.
I think he might just be the Premier League killer at this stage.
Well, yeah, fair enough. But you're going to ask me for my man of match. Well, it's not Højbjerg.
Yes, Carl. Yes.
I'm going for Stefan Young. Yes, English captain, not just the Irish one, but Stefan Young. Brilliant performance, and Doherty was outstanding, as I said. Like, has he done enough to start the next few games? I don't know, but we'll find out who Conte's going to play on Wednesday. But I'll be at the game Wednesday, so yeah, I'll be seeing you there, Ben.
You will indeed, Carl. You will indeed.
And don't forget to bring Ash with you, Ben, because I'd like to meet her. It would be nice, mate.
I'll see if she's coming. I'm not too sure just yet. I'll see.
All right, mate. So, yeah, enjoy watching the highlights because I'll be watching that later. And I see you probably not done. I sent you the photo of the Kulizeski picture, mate, because the SBC has just been released. So get to work and start doing.
I've got to work, Carl. I've got to work. I've got him already.
What? How did you just do it the other day? Yeah.
I did it last night. Yeah.
Lucky sword. I still. You always do SBC that come out like Kane, Kulu. Son's already got an inform, but I don't know. Why does he not get a team this season card yet? Like, he's only got a Champions League card, but I want to try and do it, but apparently to finish them intro ones first. But
yeah,
enjoy. So, but I took Son out because I know he hasn't been good the last, but he scored a hat-trick against Leicester, so I just brought him back in my FPL team. He loved the goal against Everton. Harry Kane does so. We got to focus Wednesday before we play the Coffees, as that's Everton's new name now. The Coffees.
Coffees?
Yeah, the Coffees. Everton.
Why the Coffees?
That's Everton's new name, the Coffees.
But why, Kyle? Why?
Because they're not doing that great. They're in a relegation battle, but they've won their last, 2 games, and they're going to play Man United tomorrow, 7 o'clock. That's not normally a time slot, but first time. But that's their new name, the Coffees.
Okay.
Yeah. We'll take your word for it, Carl.
I'm off anyway to listen to Who Let the Hounds Out.
Of course you are.
Who Let the Hounds Out? I haven't heard that one before.
Yeah, that's that. Who let the Yids out? Who let the Yids out?
We let out Carl on Wednesday night. I hope there's not going to be any trouble on Wednesday night, because if there is, it's going to be surrounded by you, mate.
Yeah, I heard the Frankfurt Ultras need to watch out on Wednesday night.
Yeah.
Carl's going to be on the loose.
KPV's coming for you, for the Ultras.
Yeah, and I'm off anyway, so I'll see you Wednesday, Ben. And
yeah,
I'll be where I was last year in the Tottenham bar or something, or whatever it was, the same place.
The goal line bar.
Oh, well, goal line bar, but yeah, gonna have a better picture this time because I still can't rotate the picture we had last year. They won't let me have my wallpaper, so on my phone. So we're gonna have to have a better one this time. So yeah, Paul's in this week anyway. So and hopefully Liverpool will do us a favour tomorrow because we're only a point behind the field. So Liverpool always beat them when they go to the Emirates. So come on, Liverpool, do us a favour. I just don't want those lot from Seven Sisters Woe to win because they think they're going to win the league. Bullshit.
And that's the bottom line because KPV said so.
And that's the bottom line because KPV said so. He's going to shove it straight up your candy, yeah.
All right, big up KPV. We're going to have to move on now, but thank you so much for coming on. We'll see you on Wednesday, and up the Spurs.
Up the Spurs, come on.
Big up KPV.
Big up KPV.
Always a laugh.
It's gonna be fun on Wednesday. Get down there and see KPV.
Exactly. Watch out, the Frankfurt Ultras. I hope you're watching.
Yeah, he's coming for you. He is coming for you.
But let's get on the Jorical. Let's bring him on. Jory, looks cold. Looks cold where you're at.
Yeah, it's a bit nippy. I'm calling here from directly from the Icelandic Spurs Academy.
Okay, how's Jonas doing?
He's doing all right. They're doing their nightly training. The boys here. So
taking inspiration from the good victory today.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't the most thrilling for sure, but it was still solid and good, and we liked what we see. We're kind of you gotta rejoice when you get something that's not the complete emotional roller coaster like we're
Yeah.
used to getting with the Spurs all the time, especially a 1-0. I'm like, we're starting to get used to 1-0s not being absolute nerve wracking nail biters, even though you always want the extra goal. But I was really happy with what I saw. I thought the whole team showed up. Of course, the three in the middle kind of was proven correct. It like did everything we had. We had the midfield dominance the whole
Yeah.
game, and from there you can do so many things. It's maybe not gonna be as an electric offensive game from us then, but still, Kane and Son as pure strikers up top is still pretty dangerous stuff, I think. So. And I saw more of progression in the right direction with both Kane and Son. So Kane did have a strange pass there, a couple maybe at the start, but after that it got better, I thought, and I keep thinking it keeps getting better and better. I mean, his shot there was amazing once again.
Dynamite, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, and like for me, we have to mark this day as a historic day because Sonny took a free kick.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hallelujah.
And a keeper made a save as well. I can't
Yeah,
believe
yeah,
we
it was
actually
on the frame and everything, over the wall
Yeah.
and on the frame. It was beautiful.
Yeah.
So yeah, and to be honest, I don't want to keep you too long, guys. But by the way, great show as always.
Thank you.
Big thank you,
But
Joey.
I just like, this is what I expect, and this is what I think a Conte team and a real contender for silverware. This is what they look like when they're not clicking. They're still solid. They're still getting the victory. They're not making anybody basically poo their pants of because it's too close for comfort. And that's what we haven't seen just the couple of games before this. But now we're kind of there. I think if this is what we see when we're not clicking, then that's a really important thing, because I want to see what Arsenal does when they're not clicking. When they
Yeah,
are having their
absolutely.
bad period, they're going to be losing. And I even think like a Man City is probably going to lose a couple more than they do normally. So and we can see like Liverpool are having their bad period now, and that's costing dearly. Whereas if this is our kind of non-clicking period, hallelujah, I'll take it any day. So yeah, I was really happy with what I saw today.
And does it make it even more impressive with what Spurs have gone through during the week with Ventroni? I mean,
Exactly. Yeah.
Conte looked distraught. Like, he looked half the man he usually is, Conte, today, didn't he?
Yeah, and you hate to say it, but hopefully this event can also go into forming an even stronger bond, and putting, like, minimizing egos and putting old gripes aside and whatever, and just make that whole unit trust each other more, and be humble each other, be humble towards each other, and come together, because that's what any winning team needs. There can't be any overruling egos or old arguments going, or stuff like that. It just needs to, people need to understand that there's bigger things in life than this, and how much of a privilege it is to actually get to do this, and now for these players to get to actually be a viable contender for silverware. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see them stepping up quite a bit now. So
Let's
yeah.
hope so, Jory. Let's hope so. I mean, there were a few standout performers today. I mean, the wing backs were brilliant. The midfield was brilliant. Who really stood out for you?
So I would say, like, for me, Bentancur, Højbjerg, and Cess all deserve man of the match. I'm kind of leaning towards Bentancur, simply because I felt like he was like he was doing a job nobody else was doing there, which I felt was important. But I mean, I can say the same about Cess and Højbjerg. So I really don't really want to pick one over the other. I thought the whole team as a whole was really working well as a team. I was happy with Doherty. He did have a couple of sketchy defensive moments, but apart from that, the thing about Doherty is that he really has a really good understanding of how to, the positional strength of a wing back. The way he runs into spaces really presses the defenders difficult, like in another way than, for example, Cess does it well and all of that, but he runs more in behind. And whereas Doherty, he kind of attacks kind of on a quarter angle and kind of compresses the defense, and it's really difficult. He's kind of in between. The guys can't decide who's going to go for him, and they fall back, and now you've really close to goal all of a sudden. So.
Oh.
I think we might have lost Jory there. Yeah, I think we might have lost him. But all right, thanks for calling in, Jory. Really good call as always. But let's keep going to our next guest. Oh, he seems to have frozen as well. Maybe we'll get to the super chat first.
Yeah, get to super chat from Rambro. Big up, Rambro.
Big up.
Good win by the boys today. Game management was in full effect. Lallana sort of showed us what to expect with a number 10 that finds the spaces. City have about 3 of them. Man of the match, Sessegnon. No, he said Højbjerg. He said Højbjerg as well. I'm gonna lose this. It's a losing battle. I've already accepted it. Apart from KPV, and Jory with a shared one, so I'll claim that one as well. So
I'll give it to you as well.
But yeah, Højbjerg is gonna get it definitely. So yeah.
Do we have anyone else? No. I mean, we did have Ashmatic in the queue, but he seems to have frozen. So maybe Ashmatic, you can call in tomorrow because we'll be live tomorrow as well. I'll be here with Sim in the studio with the post-match show, as well as player ratings and 5 takeaways and all the great stuff that's coming tomorrow. But Barry, once again, thank you so much for coming in today and joining us with 3 points. We can just, cast that Arsenal side, cast the game aside, and you got 100% record.
Yeah, I know. I think it's this top. I don't think we've lost. We've actually won every time I've won this top.
We always got to find something.
Cling on to something. But look, no, it's been a pleasure. I will be here again on Wednesday with Bob Spur TV, and then you're going to get a break for a couple of weeks of me. I'm sure everyone will want a break.
And we're going to go on a losing run then.
Yeah, hopefully not. But look, I'll be back on Wednesday for the Frankfurt game. Back to winning ways. 3rd in the league. We now need to go on Wednesday night and just get the 3 points and hopefully maybe a draw in the Marseille Sporting game, and we could that puts us with 1 foot in the next round.
Absolutely. So good day all round. It's 3 points for Spurs. A very hard game at the Amex. Going to sign off with a tribute for Gian Piero Ventroni, rest in peace. Sorely missed. You saw how cut up Conte was today. You saw the little nod Kane did to him when he scored as well. So that victory, that 3 points, is definitely in the memory of Gian Piero Ventroni. May he rest in peace. Our thoughts go out to everyone connected to him and all of his previous clubs and Tottenham Hotspur. So rest in peace. Our thoughts and our wishes are definitely going in your direction. So thank you everyone for joining us today. Like, subscribe and comment, and as always, come on you Spurs.